わからん。しかも、棒読みちゃんが繋がらん。いや、俺がわからんから。やっていきますか。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
YouTube のソフトがね、わかんないんだよ。
Yeah, that's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
怖くないですよ。なんていうんですかね。事情聴取した画像をいろいろ検査かけてって何があったんですかっていうのを、読み取る、わかる、そういうゲームです。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
何やこれ。で、こうやって検索キーワードをかけてって画像を読み出すんですけど。マジ52個だったよ。あ、俺の声ちっちゃい。ごめんなさい。すいません。ワックスですね、マイク。52個
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work, mirror making, feature windows, artistic things, really beautiful things.
やばい。めんどくさくなってきた。
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks. Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, climb the tower, save the princess, that kind of thing.
What's that?
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next? Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
いや、めんどくせえな、これ。すごいめんどくさいぞ、これ。
Well, I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something, that's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet. But I really can't remember back to February.
Or すんげえ、実はメモってっからね、右手で。最後のそうする。絞れんのなんでやねん。なんでやねん。
Simon. Simon.
点々やねんかい。あ、1個しかない。あー、うわ、すっげえめんどくせえな、これね。ちょっとじゃあ、弁護士で。あ
ー Can I leave? Are you going to arrest me? No. They'd laugh you out of the building. A lawyer would make mincemeat of you. Yes, I understand my rights. No, I don't need a lawyer.
短い。そう、富士山が好きそうなんですよね。これ、今年多分続編出るんでね。その前にちょっとやってみたんですよ。4人って言ったかな、人は。同じ人が作るんですけど。狂気。出ないやないかーい。いいぞ、出た。いいぞ、これ。
It's okay. Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories. It's okay. Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories.
あ、クリアしてないです。フィニッシュやってないです。これ、あれなんですよ。実は。一発勝負なんで。
It's the Rockington Arms. So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you. His parents haven't heard anything either. So, It was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
9月18日です。ですよね。あれさっき、あれじゃなかった？ 3月も出てる。
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. You've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong. Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too. Yes, I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key. He was wearing a shirt with a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house. He was wearing a shirt with a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house.
ダブルコート？まさかよ。全部これやるわけじゃねえだろうね、これ。
Yes, there's a car that we share.
Cavalier?
Cavalier. And a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked on the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
これ鍵とかもすんげえメモってんだけど。仕事でもこのメモんですよね。
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa.
Visa card.
A silver one.
Garage Visa card.
He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash. But Eric convinced him to get one.
Visa card.
Well, Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
Oksan Diane. Okay. Diane. Okay. ああ、なるほど。
He was wearing. You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
それ、あれじゃないの？富士山もう確信ついちゃったんじゃないそれ。ちょっと調べて、ちょっと巻き戻ししてみます？うん、確かに、確かにね。やべえな、それ。確信ついちゃったんじゃねえか、それ。じゃあ、エリックから掘り下げていきますか。おう、ギター持ってる。俺の、なんか、じゃあちょっとまず、ね、青っぽい服から切ってみますか。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids.
切ってくれたり。
She used to look out for me when I worked there.
これ、どれがキーポイントかわかんねえな、これ。どれか赤い服の時は。
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
Glasgow? Glasgow. 場所がどこなのかもしれない。なんかあれだね。
I mean, not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off CFAX, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
一瞬ファンネルに見えた俺っておかしい。フェンネル。食べ物ね。じゃあちょっと聞いていてみます。これでもさ、日付があれなんじゃないの？ 27 日？だんだん疑われてってるね。これ、27日。7月です。
Simon and Eric arguing?
なんで俺ギター持ってんの？
I can't imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
やべえぜ、俺。バタバタメモってんだけど、真相にたどり着けない。なんかあります？ダッフルゴーツ。ダッフルゴーツ1個しかない。はい、どうでもいい話結構ね。あ、これだけじゃ、これ入れてんのか。もう出てこねえじゃん。銀色のビーツはカード。いや、すげえうちって。これあれなのかな。 ピッツァカード。あ、ピザ行こう。意味がない。はい。はい。さよなら。はぁ。なんかヒントくれ、ヒント。サム・スミス。太陽が消えたね。ああ、ヘレンがいいね。食べ物。これなんとなく知ってんだよね。実はね。結婚記念日にいいですね。はい。じゃあギター。おお。ほほ。
No. No, Simon didn't play guitar.
弾いてんじゃん。
He wasn't very musical.
ああ。
He liked to listen, but he was tone deaf.
でもさ、この子の名前知らなくね？俺。
Yes.
ああ。あれ
Yeah, it's my guitar.
マイギター？
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. She pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
実績解除。これどうやって消すの？消したいんだけど。あ、びっくりしたー。これ何？調べたら出てきて。あ、間違った。 姉妹、風と雨。ダイアンがこの姉妹。うん、姉妹なんか臭いっすね。やべえ、これ消し方わかんねえ。ああ、保存になってるね。あ、調子になってくるから。そうっすね。なんか、はい。ちょっとやってみますか。はは4月3日っすよ。いいじゃないですか、これ。
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face.
これ、あれじゃない？もう、がっつり確信じゃねこれ。ほら、音楽変わったぞ。
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face.
ってことは、あれじゃない？顔映った？マジか。ちょっと待ってや。これあれじゃないですか？要は、ね、ダイアンさんとこの人が、彼女で、兄弟でって話でしょ？彼女がいたとダイアンがいたでしょ？多分。
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face.
ってことは、エリックさんとこの人がっていうことでしょうね。姉妹から、見ましたと。じゃないですか。うまく話が持ってきたんで、保存します。なんかまともに普通にやってるのがなんか4時間ぐらいですね。早い人なんかすぐ行っちゃうらしくて。ふう？やべえ。なんか面白くなってきたこ
れ。I got pregnant.Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married. No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.No. Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. We and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there. Yes, I'm fine. I won't be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness.
What?
No. Well, yes. You found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant. Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents. Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck. Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications. Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile.
What?
Felt like the universe had
これ双子か
corrected
こい
its
つら。
course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then
顔映った。え、誰の顔？俺の顔？
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile.
うん。そういうことだよね。
Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then
ちょっとじゃあまとめますか。つまり花と と、エリックは結婚してまして、流産してますよと。してますよと。で両親と暮らしてましたよと。で、もっと言っちゃえば、この人大変なんでしょ結局。で、双子ですよと。なんだけど、多分、これ、二重人格じゃないの？誕生日とかね、誕生日やりますか？藤田のリクエストはは？ちょっと待って。その前、これかな？指隠してます。
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was. And then.
してませんね。はい、してません。
When she went home,
角度でもう一度。
the look on.
7月3日の時点でこんなこう。
You want me to play something?
これ7月1日。これ、してます？なんか見えないですね。っていうか、双子だろ、これ。
So.
まあちょっと、まあちょっとあれで、誕生日言ってみましょう。
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that. It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of Eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
この人サイモンですよね。でもさ、こっちは誕生日気に入らないって言ってんですよ。
It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present. A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off, I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off. A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off, I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off.
はい、ということで、じゃあ、イブさんと花さんを調べてみましょう。花って犬じゃねえだろうな、実は。あ、泣き崩れてる。
Well, my friend Eve.
フレンドかい。
I mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid, and she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. Really, really hate her sometimes. Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up after. It was a love-hate relationship.
いやいや、普通そう思われたってことじゃないやろ。
What are you doing talking about Eve?
これ多重人格じゃないの？単純に。
My mother called me Eve. My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H. It's Palindrome. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
花スミス。ああ、花スミスは最後さ、あれですよね。てっきり花さんのことじゃなくて、一番ですね。
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry. Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead, but I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper. She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. It was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place. Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
What?
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead, but I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
Yeah. これ花ずっといて花じゃないみたいな話ですよね。ということで、じゃあどんどんいきますか。Oh, 投げですよ、これ。
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion. Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me. Florence was a warm, kind person, but she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it, older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand, I guess. I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you're married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know. No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week. No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street. I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights. Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play out there and make up our own stories. when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till. It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed, and that's when I called the police.
Huh?
Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out. I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah.
Sarah?
Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name. Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there? It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. So she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind, but she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much? Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it. Are any of these in colour? Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again? We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
わかんなくなってきた。
Fairy tales. Stories about lost princesses, evil witches, magical mirrors and lost children. So you see, even before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories. I wanted to see my reflection. I thought that if I touched her, something would happen. We would become one girl. The fairy tale was over, the witch was dead, and I'd be restored to my rightful place. When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had.
イブとあれでしょ、そしたらダイアンが同じっていう人ってことじゃない？
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. Lionel was playing in it.
あ、今のあれが多分あれでしょ。花さんって感じ。ほう。
His body did not real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses. He doesn't always wear.
わかんねえな、お前。ああ、進まなくなってきた。なんだこれ。間違った。その回数じゃねえ。
Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the dock to dry. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce her heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
だからやっぱこれ2人相手にしてるのがね、結局ね。ああ、難しい。でもこれどうやったら進むんだろう。そういえば最初なんか俺はあれ忘れたけどヘレンって言ったんですよ。
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
まあブログじゃないやないかい。 無事に消える。
I hoover my dust every week, maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said, if people ask, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day, ran an ordered house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front. She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes.
What?
When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage, and she still has a secret like that.
ラプンツェルってことはあれでしょ、人形ってことでしょ、結局。
Rehearsed? You ask me the same question, you'll get the same answer. Is that your evidence? Of course I thought about what happened then. It's all I've thought about. My husband is dead.
どうかよ、こいつ。ああ、なるほどね。昨日感覚なるほど。これあれじゃないの？双子でっていう説もあるし、多重人格って説もできる。人形遊びの説もあるわけでしょうね。要は。じゃあまずちょっと戻ってみますか。
There's married couple stuff. A stupid argument, nothing specific. No one knows how to push your buttons better than those you're close to. I haven't been into work. I guess I've just been waiting to hear from you, hear from my husband. When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates. We could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive-aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything.
10年結婚してるだろう。
When you suspect someone of murdering their husband.
じゃあ、エレナさんいきます。お、これ何？
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them.
よくわかんない。
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room. Nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
かんねえ。
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. A forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It was just awful. Yes. I speak with Eleanor at least once a day. Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just... I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us, there's always been pressure.
これ両親知りたいですね。そろそろ。両親の名前がわからないですよ。
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope. I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep. Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back. No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning. When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car. It's like I told you before, I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted, I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon. Ask the hospital. When I arrived in Glasgow, I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital. It just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them. Just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary.
でも白状をしちゃったわけですよね。
Just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things, and we were very careful.
メモの上。ちょっとトイレ行ってきます。指輪が右手にあったか。指輪が右手にあったかって。手打てばいいの？ちょっと待って。ああ、ちょっと私はこれでいいか。
No. No, he wasn't wearing his wedding ring.ああ、ミラーだからかい？はあ、なるほどね。これでやって出ないかな？出ねえわ。逆出たね。 Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl.
Huh?
Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon. Yeah. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognised me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers, drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
進んだってことですよね。出てきたやっぱり。まあちょっとカール行ってみましょう。カール出てるんじゃない？
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15. No, I was 15. Carl was older. 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It was stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
ちょろちょろと出るのやめてほしいよね。ほんとおっかないよね。
Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
でも、この人の名前は両親は誰だったんでしょうね、結局。
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date, we went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had the one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me, but that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
これどうやって終わるの？終 終われんのかな、もしかして。
Okay, she's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty. Maybe it was mistaken identity. Did they catch her there? I don't know. It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird, in a way it hadn't been before.
まあ、屋根裏調べた時に見てなかったのかして。ああ、そっか、最初の方から出てないんだ。
Yes, like a story. A beginning, a middle, and an end. Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed. No cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat for that, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. My name?
Oh.
That was the only question I failed. Your lie detector works. Yes, I'll take a lie detector test. I've never taken a lie detector test before. Does it really work?
What the fuck?
My name. That was the only question I failed. Your lie detector works. He saw me singing one of my shows, pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
What the fuck?
So I moved out.
Oh.
Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings. So I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist. No, he doesn't have any tattoos.
Okay.
He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not books so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
読まれても違うじゃん。じゃあ終わり方はどうやったんだろうね、これ。
My tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake. Can you imagine? I tried. I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty ill. I mean, how could we stay the same now? I felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different. This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap? They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that. But, I mean, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them. When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code. Something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor. Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway. We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway. No, they were shut. Most of the windows were really hard to open anyway. It's stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door. Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic. It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford. There was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford? Are you sure? What would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar. We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. And the hotel said he was there? After the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing. Suicide? No. At the time they said it was poison. No.
Oh, what's got
I mean, everyone loves Simon. He was so nice to everyone. He loves me. No one has been in the last few weeks. We had a plumber come in 3-4 weeks ago. Someone Simon knew from the Rock. Hurt someone? Yes. But everyone thinks that from time to time, right? You just want to lash out.
うわー、むずっけえ、これ。
We loved our cat. We loved our cat. Domino. God, hell. Notes once. She didn't.
じゃあ酸素って指示。
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. I guess it was hard. When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code.
そうっすね。
My name? That was the only question I failed. Your lie detector works. I've never taken a lie detector test before. Does it really work?
指示やったいですね。
He saw me singing one of my time. And it was like it was a dream. I guess you could call it that, but childhood sweethearts. Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said.
ですね、何かをやらかしたっていうので、その操作した事情聴取の映像を読み取って紐解いていくんですけど、でも実際はどんでん返しが分かんないですよ、最後のネタが。前情報なしでやってるんで、完全にこれ。で、今やってってずっと映像が見てて判明したのは、こうやって女の人がいるじゃないですか。これ日付ことになったりとかしてるんですけど、これをやるとこいつらは同じ顔してるんですけど、実は2人だったっていう話。そこまではね、分かったんですけど、本当かそれ。これ担当してるじゃないですか。それと、この人とこの人は同じ人なんですよ、白い人。なんだけど、多分ここら辺のやつは多分、こいつとかは多分違う人なんですよ、きっと。詰まった。なんか検索してなかったっけな、俺。 そうそう、ウルフタスとか二重人格とかもいろいろあったんですけど、結局違うんですよね。同じ人間なんですよ、普通。ラペさん、おいす。ごめんね、棒読みじゃないから分かんないんだよね。
No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon. I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other boys. You're reaching here. Oh, I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing? Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can. An affair? Simon wasn't having an affair. She's crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman.
Ah.
But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine. Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo. They said a spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have. A wig? You mean... what type of wig? No, I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig? This was about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually we grew tired of fighting and I left. This was about 9. I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night. I wasn't there. This was about 9. She agreed.
Wow, how? Nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing in the bar again, and there he was. And again the next week, he offered to buy me a meal. I told him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic. No. I told her it was one of my boyfriends, someone I had met in the bar. I think she was happy, but I could tell she was thinking, why couldn't it happen to her and Simon? They were the ones with the real life. Why not them? No, he was as shy as me. I asked a friend to ask him out for me. We had our first date at the Odeon in North End. We went to see Risky Business. I had on my one best dress. Simon paid, and he bought me a Whisper, and I was worried about getting chocolate on my teeth.
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories. I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories. Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something, ran out of something, had to grab something. I sometimes drive too fast. If you want, you can arrest me for that. Are you arresting me? No. Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Open this door. This is a nice of them. This is where you take people when it's time to arrest them. Yes. No lawyer. What are you going to arrest me for? It wasn't the present so much, it was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me. Fairy tales. Well, she wasn't my real mother, but she raised me. Do you want to hear the story? It's a real-life fairy tale. And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books. There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
Oh, this is...
I don't know if anyone really changes. You just become more yourself. Simon was my prince, and that hasn't changed. The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since. Oh, okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house, I knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in, Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly into the living room, nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom, he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just... Simon's parents offered to put me up, but I didn't think it would be a good idea. It would be too sad. There were always princes and princesses.
Wow, 詰まった。ポスター？これで終わりじゃなくて。検索。話が見えないでしょ。俺の話見えないんで。だから2人は同じ人だっていうのは別人だっていうのを白状した。
Well, she has a knife. She's been cooking. I guess she's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. And he's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. Because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure how it ends.
Right. Uh-huh.
Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection. She always had short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but I would find a way. Cut it with a bread knife, something like that. My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. Oh, TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books. Yes. The first time we saw each other, it was strange. We both realised at the same moment, I think. We must have seen each other before, but there was this instant when we first realised it wasn't a reflection. The reflection was staring back. I think I was 5. It was my birthday. My reflection was wearing a party hat and waving. I knew what party hats were from books. And it suddenly occurred to me, today must be my birthday. I waved back and we just spent ages waving at each other and copying each other's movements. The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff. If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull out Hannah's to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the same to me. But she almost went too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snuck frozen peas up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies were synchronised anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits. Bruise? Oh yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen and the chair slipped and I kind of hit the door with my face. We had like hell. I think so. I mean, to get into our garden, we'd have one.
ああ、目撃者って。
Yes. On his throat. How?
マジか。あ、進んでる。
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead. Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off. She was sat behind him. She had my wig on. And she'd been there all day. And she had blood on her. And she was in shock. I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
ですね。おじさんです。とりあえず映し出されている女の人は2人いましたよと。 で、成り代わり、立ち代わりでうまく2人一役かをやってたらしくて、でも、そのサイモンさん、両方の人が多分愛しちゃったんでしょうね。で、もともと身代わりになってた人と一緒になりたいしたところを、本当の人が逆上して殺しちゃったっていう話じゃないですか。だけど妊娠してて、多分その子が今この画面を見てたんじゃないですかねっていう話なんですけど、まあ考察動画かなんかあれば見てみますけど、多分まだ画像がいっぱいあるんで出そうと思ったら出せると思うんですけどね。ものすごいよくできたゲームだと思うんで、続編みたいなのもあるんで、またそれはね見ようかなと思いますけど。なんだかんだ言って2時間半ぐらいやってた俺。はい、ありがとうございました。もういいです。流しちゃった。続きなんで、全部やろうと思って全部出せると思うんですけど。はい、一発勝負ということなんだなと思いました。はい、ありがとうございました。お疲れ様です。